Okay guys, so in this video, the armrest piece from last video is done and complete. Today I'd like to do the lower portion of the door, which will have a speaker pod built in and a little bit of a flat space for a call out. The speaker pod portion needs to be modular because I will change my mind multiple times on what speakers I'm running. So I'm going to make a modular pod that bolts to the door, and then our cover covers that. The speaker grill for that speaker will be mounted in the outer piece. Originally I planned on it being removable from the outer cover, but I believe just pulling the whole outer cover off to get to the modular center is probably easier. So we'll be making the lower 3D printed piece, a stamped grill, and then there's a aluminum blank that'll be going in the rear of the door to try to give place for a name, call out name, something like that. You know, Silverado even if you want. We'll see how it goes from there. I think there's enough to work with on that. There's a lot to do, but this is a fun project, so let's get at it. So here's where we ended up on our door panel. The armrest piece is done and happy. I'm happy enough with it. The lower portion here will be what we're working on today. It's going to have speaker provisions here. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get away with a 6.5 or if I'll have to do a 5.25 inch woofer on that, and then we'll probably go component. So in that case, there's a woofer, a tweeter, and then probably a high crossover in the back of it. And then this area here will be left for a body colored blank spot that'll be a call out for, like I say, show names or any of that. Remember that this will be going away. There's a little pod involved for the window switch conversion. I'm not entirely sure if I want to use their pod that came with it. It'll probably not suit the door panel, so I'll build it into somewhere. And then here I'm probably doing a cup holder pod provision. Yeah, trying very hard to keep this stock door panel as the basis for it all, in the hopes that we can maybe make these marketable for other people and make a good option for door panels that isn't the standard ones out there or a full custom option, somewhere in between. So see how that goes. On to the CAD. Okay guys, so here we go. I've created this. I think it does everything I wanted. It mounts on with just a few screws into the lower door. Should give me lots of clearance for whatever speaker choice I get. A little call out area here like I was mentioning. And then here's the entire print. Hard to get the world right here. These pieces here are throwaways. They're purely there for printing. You can see there's a seam right through here and right through here, and that makes this printable on small, like regular printers. Whole thing is pretty solid. I think it'll be quite stout. And then we'll do our same texturing that we did to the door, the armrest, which will bring it up to a nice finish. Probably not as glossy as this because I want the vinyl look of the stock part. But you can see here, I think we can see, yeah, that there's seams where this is multiple pieces. And that should make it fit. I have a large printer, but it's not anything abnormally large, so that solves that. And then we should be able to turn off the lower grill here. That support won't be there. That's just for printing. That'll go in the garbage. And behind here will be a pod that mounts to the door that's separate, that houses your speakers and everything else. And then this will mount over it to kind of pretty it up a bit and give you the options to put whatever speaker you want behind it, and give me the options to change my mind, which is something I'm really good at. What we'll probably be doing, and I've already started working on it, is grills that are, let me go here. This will be the grill in a Chevy bow tie pattern for it, because my truck is a Chevy, and I think it's kind of neat. So there's the grill as it goes in, and then these are pressed dies, so I can make them in my press here. I'll show you as we go with it. I think it'll make sense. Here you can see the drawing moved into the slicer for the 3D printer. I've got strong walls. It's we've gone, because this is a press tool, it has to handle quite a bit of pressing. So the infill is 15%. We got 5 walls, 5 top, 5 bottom. That's really heavy for a part. this thing is going to be almost solid, but it's, well, I tend to use close to 10 tons to press them. It's excessive, but it lets me get a sharp, crisp press on it. So, yeah, that, and then I've added a brim around the outside, which, if you print, you understand. If you don't, it's purely just a support that goes around. You'll see when it comes up actually here. Generates, and it adds just a few extra lines around the outside edge that'll stop these kind of hard corners from lifting. This radius corner is never going to be a problem, but these harder corners want to lift. 3D prints shrink, and we do these in ABS or ASA for the presses. So it's a filament that shrinks quite hard. So the longer a straight line you have, the more it wants to shrink as it cools. So if I had this, like if this was a horseshoe shape, it would shrink this way, not across the opening. But because this has square corners, it's a long stretch here and a long stretch here. They both want to shrink. So you'll get this corner pulling up. So this is just a little bit of extra like hot glue on the outside to kind of help it have a chance. So we'll send that to the printer and watch it start doing its thing. I'll add clips along the way. So I've temporarily just rested this on the wall so I can get a good angle on it for you. This is the 3 prints together, bonded together, and unfortunately, again, things move fast in the shop sometimes. This got glued together and the first layer of sanding and priming done before I got it. But we'll have other chances to show how that works. You can see in the first layer there's a hint of a line. You can see just from sanding dust that it was 2 pieces, but it goes together pretty strong. And I did print dowels in between. There's actually plastic rods that go this way in the print. I forgot to show that part in the CAD, but when you slice this apart on this wall is holes that pass between the two and allow you to put supports in that help you line it up for gluing. Everything I do, I plan to do 100 times, so it kind of helps in the future. And then we've done all the bosses for screws and everything, just like the factory door panel was. See if I can get a shot in there. So it should, if I can actually pan over, match the bosses in these pretty good. I think it'll look good together. I was able to model them both at the same time. So the final changes, I think I've already changed some things since I did this. I designed this to have the grill go into a backer, and that backer would attach to there so I could access behind there. I don't think I need to. I think we'll just pull that panel off anytime I need to access the thing behind it, because the speaker is more than likely going to be up in behind here and just the cone showing, not the mounting surround. So being able to access behind there is really not of a ton of use. So for this one, I haven't done the other side yet, so I'll change it for that. But for this one, I'll probably just 3D print a ring that glues in there that gives me the option to do the pressing grill that I was talking about. Again, it'll make more sense as we go forward and I get to show you. But quite pleased with how that's working out. I'll mount it on the door panel quickly here and we can see how it looks. Guys, so here we go. It's starting to look the part. It matches the shape of the door panel pretty good. Hard to imagine it right now with the 2 colors, but I think I got a grasp of it. And then keeping in mind that there will be a map pocket slash cup holder slash cell phone holder there. I did take to the laser quick and cut a piece of plywood just for now to try looking at this, and then we just gave it a quick squirt of some paint we had. I think it's a good look. And that will be attached from the backside before the panel goes on. Now we just got to get some grill for over here, and then once the grill's done, I'll work on the speaker pod for behind it, the part you won't ever see, but will mount all your stereo gear and all my choices of stereo gear, because this door panel will probably see 6 or 7 stereo changes throughout its life, knowing me. Okay, quick few hour print here. The cheaties are quite quick. You see that brim we were talking about? So that's all it is. It just peels off. It's just enough to help hold it to the printer while it's being printed. And you can see from there, that'll force the mesh down in. The positive is being printed right now. That'll force the mesh down in to all the shapes we want and give us the mesh that was in the rendering, plus the bow tie that I drew in. And you get the idea. Nothing too complicated. When the other part's done, I'll wander over to the press and maybe we can show it getting pressed. It's not really that interesting to watch, and it is hard to do with one hand because of the phone, but I will try. Okay guys, and here is the male portion of our grill stamp ready to go. Let's get over to the press and see how that works. This is going to be really hard to film one-handed with a camera, but I will try my best. We're over in the storage shop here where the press is. We have a big 40-ton here. It's significantly bigger than we need for this, but it will do the job. So, some really nice fine mesh I like using. There's the female and then the male. Make sure they are lined up pretty good. It's pretty self-aligning, but I'm critical to get the line of the mesh lined up with it. Otherwise, you'll have an angle forever in your grill, unless that's what you want. If you want to have that angle, that's exactly how you do it, like 45 degrees, and you'd have the pattern going the other way. And put a big plate on top. This will be good. One hand. Hey, look at that. And then I have this cheater plate, just one of the press tools from the press. That should let me get some distance there. And this will take 2 or 3 presses. I'll do it in the middle. Just a little. And you can see that's done most of it already. Now that the location is locked in, you can release that and move the plate, just the plate. We're not pushing hard enough. The maximum I end up pushing on these is like 5 or 6 tons, which is a lot, but it doesn't matter that much for what we're doing here. There we go. If it's not lined up over the edges, it just cracks the tooling, which if you're doing it once, doesn't matter. It'll do the job and then crack it. But if I get it lined up, we get multiple uses. I've used some of these 20 or 30 times. Chances are these will eventually become a production part if I like them when they're done. And these same dies will be the ones I use for that. So you're really figuring it out once and then using it for ever long as we need. That's a good sound. Pretty much everything here is too heavy to lift one-handed. Okay. And now you have a speaker grill. Now I'll get to trimming it. We'll just trim along the line, see how it fits in the door panel. Okay, we're back at the door here. And there's the grill in place. Needs some final fitment when the body and paint is done. And I'll probably Cerakote the grill. But that gives you an idea of what it looks like. Obviously our temporary painted panel. And like I said in the earlier portion of this video, there'll be a frame inside this when it's all finished, I have changed my mind on how I was mounting it. So this will pop into a recess with probably a little bit of glue, because it doesn't have to come out. This whole piece will come off instead of just the grill coming out. I was going to take the grill out anytime I wanted to work on the speakers. So just a little bit of depth gives it a little bit of a better look. And once it's painted, actually I'll spray it with the same paint I painted that quick, and you can see the difference. It takes some of the flop off of the mesh, and I like it better. Okay, and here it is painted to match that panel. A little bit less reflection goes a long ways on these things. I'm a fan of that. I think once this is all painted and that's wrapped, it's gonna look good. Probably work on this cup holder instead of a map pocket here next. I'm not sure if that'll be the next video or not. We'll see how they line up. I have some other plans I want to work on, and this may need to take a pause for a second. Okay guys, as normal, I've cut through a lot of this stuff pretty quickly. So if there's any questions you have, let me know. The comments are there. If I can fill in any spots that we've skipped, I'm more than happy to do so. And enjoy the next video. It'll be coming out soon. I think it's going to be the cup holder.